Hi, what's up, guys?
Adam,
How's it going?
hey, what's happening?
Not much, man. I'm just really happy to be here. It's the highlight of my day.
Okay, well, I'm Joe Shanks, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Hollywood South Urban Film Festival, and I'll be serving as the host of this year's event, and I'll be the one interviewing you right now. So, thanks for joining in with us.
Likewise, thank you so much for having me, Joe. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, so you're sort of an actor, you've done off Broadway plays, and you've done a lot of theater in the city of Chicago. What made you decide to start creating films and content and things like that?
I actually loved filmmaking since I was a kid. My brother and my brothers, I should say, and we had this video camera that my parents had gotten when I was probably about maybe 11 years old, just to film like family functions and stuff like that. But we would take it and we would be filming like all of our own movies. We would just kind of make up our own stories and have our own TV shows and make our own movies, and we actually really got into it and we really loved it. And and that's kind of what got me into acting. But then I think really what changed was I was doing some on-camera acting here in Chicago, and then I started a theater company with a bunch of friends called Stone Soup Theater Project, which was really about trying to create affordable and relevant theater for the communities of Chicago on the north side. And in the process of doing that, we were doing a lot of outreach because we wanted to make sure that the work that we were producing was in some way connected to something that was going back into the community. So we had to make sure it was relevant. And so we worked on a lot of different issue campaigns with various community organizers, and really where the bulk of our time was spent there was violence prevention. And so we got to meet a lot of different um, outreach workers and community organizers that we worked on a lot of different campaigns with regarding violence prevention. And at a certain point, uh, our management, wanted us to create they wanted us to create a project that was really designed around the outreach that we were doing, because we were working on all these different issues for a period of 2 years, and we wanted to create a project that really reflected that. And I was in charge of our outreach at the time, and I was thinking, we should really think about making a web series and do it in the vein of inspired by violence prevention, because we had spent so much time there doing it. And the reason why I got into filmmaking specifically for the web series was because I had been on set as an actor, and I wanted to make sure that I knew, and I didn't know anything about the technical side of filmmaking outside of what I experienced on a film set. So I wanted to make sure that I really knew the ins and outs of really just the entire process from front to back. And so the reason why we chose the web series format for it was because we felt it was too big and too broad of a story to fit in a 2-hour play. We thought it felt like it would just really fit the television medium perfectly, because we can tell this ongoing story, and you can get sort of like involved with these characters and just kind of like hooked on their story. Because really, as we knew it in real life, going through and working on a lot of these different campaigns with our violence prevention partners in the community, their lives were just like up and down like that. So some days they would be doing great and they would be really connecting with their clients, and some days would be just really awful, and they might end up losing a client to gun violence, or another unfortunate reason. And so it just the medium itself, I think, was more conducive to reflect that that lifestyle and that work as we knew it. So that's really kind of very long-winded way of explaining why I got into filmmaking. Specifically for this project was because I wanted to make sure we did the story right and the community right that had inspired it in the first place. And so I just wanted to make sure that we just told a really good story with as much quality as we could.
Okay, now you talk for the people that don't know. You're talking about the your 6-part web series, The Park.
Yes, that's correct.
What all roles did you have in creating this web series? How many hats did you have to wear?
Oh, all of them. It was an exhausting process. It was a great process, but really, the project really started with me. I started developing it as a writer through this acting conservatory in Chicago called Acting Studio Chicago. They have like a lot of on camera classes and classes for actors essentially, but they have like a web series development course. So they kind of the instructor kind of like walked you through all of the different hats you would have to wear if you were going to create a web series. So I stepped into it as a writer for the first time, and I had not written anything. I stepped into it as a director, and had not been a director before. I was also the editor on the project. My buddy of mine named Travis Williams, who was an amazing writer in LA, who was formerly lived here in Chicago, helped develop the project with me. He was my co-writer. And then I have a very, very small part in the third episode of the series. So actor, co-writer, director, editor, and then just, a bunch of little tiny roles as we, went through our production and post-production process. But yeah, so it was wearing a lot of different hats to pull this thing off.
Okay, I have two questions,
Yeah.
sort of tied into one. As a graduate of Columbia College, Chicago's film school myself, what was it like shooting on the streets of Chicago?
Oh man, it was just it was really exhilarating. We did a lot of interior shoots as part of the series, but the stuff that we were able to do outdoors was really it was really really fun. Although a couple of the areas that we were shooting in, we were kind of trying to do it on the sly. We didn't do that very often. We really tried to be above board and legit with how we went about it. But it was really exciting to shoot on the streets because you just got you just depending on like the lighting you would get some days, we just got some really 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 beautiful footage of Lake Michigan and various parks on the north side. It was just it was exhilarating. It's a little unpredictable. I remember our final day of shooting was just really stressful for me because the entire day we were supposed to be filming outdoors in a park on the far north side of Chicago, and it was supposed to rain all day, like all day. And so uh, we were really lucky. We had like maybe a couple of moments where it might have drizzled just like a little bit, and mostly just like a lot of like cloudiness and stuff. But we were able to get all of our shots that day taken care of. But it was scary. So it's really a combination of things. I would say it's exhilarating, scary. Um, so but it was fun nevertheless. I mean, I'm just we had a great time doing it.
Okay, and the second part to the question, what was it like casting and just putting the whole cast for all the episodes together? What was that like?
Oh man, that was. Let's see. Our pilot episode was actually a lot of fun to put together. We had basically cast the entire pilot through backstage. We had just put out audition notices and had actors come in and they would do an on-camera audition for us, and that was a lot of fun because when we were doing callbacks, we actually had. A group of the actors. There's a scene that we have in the pilot episode where it's just where it's just a bunch of characters just really just kind of shooting the shit in a barbershop, and so we had them all improvise together for a period of like 2 minutes, and a lot of these actors already knew each other either from prior projects or just from being in the industry, and so they were hamming it up and just having so much fun and just riffing and just like going back and forth with each other, and it was so much fun to watch. And I think everybody in that callback, I think, ended up getting the role that they were that they were auditioning for. So it was actually really fun. But casting the remainder of the episodes, like episodes 2 through 6, that was actually really chaotic. That was probably one of the hardest things about the series was we just ran into this situation where it was like Murphy's Law. Like anything that could go wrong did go wrong. So we had actors that had to drop out of the project because of various reasons. Like we had a couple that had like death in the family, so they had to leave production and tend to everything they needed to do personally. And so we were actually filming the remaining episodes, like the episodes 2 through 6, we were just having to shuffle around our schedule to try to accommodate auditions for other actors and try to just kind of shoot around all of the chaos that we were having from a casting perspective. So it was actually really hard, and really what saved me was, you know, it was really just relying on contacts from my other actors. Like that's really what really had helped, and we got some solid people just through referrals. So it was really a combination of going through backstage and then just leveraging the networks that you know, of, you know, of the cast of actors that we had currently. So it was such a weird, it was such a weird thing because I had such a great time casting the pilot and just such a, you know, a rough time trying to cast like the remaining episodes when we filmed those at a later date. So it was really a combination of the two.
So, what do you hope the people that see the park will take from it, and what plans for the future? What's the plans for the future for this web series?
Man, loaded questions. Great ones, man. I would say if I want anybody to take away anything from the series, is just that what an art it is, you know, and that, you know, for in outreach worker to do with what it is that they do. And I think that's probably one of the most succinct ways that I can even describe the park, is that it's really about the art of street outreach. So I think if I would want anybody to walk away with anything, it is that it's a a vitally important role, especially given where we are right now in 2020. And you know, we're seeing, you know, a rise in violence in the city, and we're actually lucky, I think, because at this point they are starting to recognize the importance that outreach workers and violence prevention organizations are having citywide. You know, you know, the data is there. You know, when the more neighborhoods that these outreach workers work in, you know, they see a significant, you know, a drop in, you know, in violent situations, because essentially by um, you know, by working with their at-risk and high-risk participants, they're able to, you know, just and work with them on whatever it is that they need to sort of get them out of those violent situations, so that they can, you know, so that they can, you know, just, you know, work towards, you know, whatever goal it is that they're trying to accomplish. You know, if some of them are in need of educational resources or healthcare, you know, resources, or economic you know, resources, you know, they really try as hard as they can to a get them off the street, and then have case managers come in and you know, work with these clients too. And various organizations do, you know, very nuanced kind of versions of these. But if I would say, you know, I want people to walk away with the impression that this is not easy work. It's very complex and it's very nuanced. And if you know any organizations that you want to support, you know, I would say, you know, I would absolutely recommend it, because these organizations work heavily off of donations and, you know, and volunteers. So I would really want people to get involved and try to help out these organizations a lot, if they like the park and what it is that the series stands for, because that's really what it's about. It's just trying to, you know, get the word out of all of the great work that these organizations are doing that you might not necessarily know about, because you know, it's there's a lot of news out there, and trying to break through that and shine a light on organizations like these is not it's not easy work for them, because they're out there doing the work. So, you know, I think if the rest of us can say, hey, you know, we love what it is you're doing, we want to support you, that would be the best thing that we would want coming away from the series.
Okay, all right, good deal. So how can people follow you personally on whatever you have going on in the future, and how can people follow the series, The Park, on social media or a website or whatever it is that you
Great,
have?
great questions. And I apologize. I know you had asked about, you know, what our plans for the park were as well. So I'll try to group all that together as best as I
Okay.
can. If people are interested in following me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, I'm Adam R. Hinkle. On Instagram, I'm AR Hinkle. If you want to follow the park, it's at the Park Web Series on Instagram, at Park Web Series on Twitter. We're also on Facebook as well. We don't currently have any additional episodes that we're going to be filming anytime soon, just because it took us, it was actually kind of a behemoth of a project to try to get these 6 episodes
Mhm.
created and out there in the world. It was probably about like a 5.5-year journey that we took trying to
Mhm.
get this done. So if if and when we decide to do a second season, we just need to make sure that we have, the right amount of funding to make sure that the stories are told in a really in a high quality way. We want to make sure that we have the buy-in of the community that helped us with the with the first 6 episodes, and that is really the most important thing for my co-writer and I, because it was our outreach workers who were acting as our consultants that really made the series happen. So it was their voices that that they it was because of their voices that this project even happened to begin with. So we want to make sure that that they're with us every step of the way again, because this is their lives. So we want to make sure that we have their approval and blessing as well. And if anybody's interested in seeing any additional episodes or just getting a little bit more information in terms of what went into making the series, and just kind of seeing the inspiration behind it, you can visit us at www.theparkwebseries.com, and we're just really appreciative of just being able to have yours and Bruce's platform here. It was just, it was crazy that we even got into this festival to begin with, and I'm just really grateful that that you guys were able to give us a moment to even talk about it.
Okay, Adam, man, we appreciate you taking your time on your busy day to join us. We wish you the best of luck in the near future with the park, the series, and any other projects that you may have. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it, and I wish you guys the best. Appreciate your time.
Okay. All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.